it up somehow.
Yes, my Straight Talk family, whenever you hear that theme song, you know it's time for another edition of Straight Talk. Time for me to say greetings to the entire world, because we are on the World Wide Web and we reach and we communicate with you all around the globe. So I'm at liberty to say good night. I'm at liberty to say good morning. And I can also say good afternoon, because one of such greetings will be applicable to the region in which we now find ourselves. But that refers in particular to those in the Kittitian, Nevisian, and Caribbean diaspora. But here in the Caribbean, and in particular St. Kitts and Nevis, the obligation is mine to say a very pleasant night to all of you, my Straight Talk family. And I thank those who share the link, because whenever you do share the link, we get first-timers. And for the first-timers, we say welcome. And just to inform you that Straight Talk is a public service program that facilitates and promotes free expression on all issues of national interest. On this program, we try to raise the level of national, regional, and international consciousness. We try to raise the level of national, regional, and international discourse by alerting all of our people to their rights, to their responsibilities, and certainly to their obligations. My name is Ian Patches Liebert, and I thank Almighty God for blessing me with the opportunity to join you in conversation on yet another occasion. And my Straight Talk family, in particular the first timers, may I inform you, and for those who've been with me all the time, may I remind you that absolutely nothing is watered down on this program. We never try to make it more interesting, not by omission or exaggeration. Straight talk is not about sensationalism or about creating excitement, especially if that will have to come at the expense of accuracy. Because if it's one thing we try to do, is to lean on the facts, as it is my duty to present what I call the unvarnished truth, the plain truth, especially when it comes to governance, transparency, accountability, and all that goes with the aforesaid. And wherever you are, because this program joins us together with people across our federation. We are joined with people in the diaspora around the world. And some we know very well. Some we have met, some we will never meet physically. Most we have met spiritually. And others we will never meet. And some will agree with the positions of truth that are advanced right here on Straight Talk. And some will disagree. And that's okay, that's fine. But what will sadden me, my Straight Talk family, is if we ever start to become disagreeable. But in the meanwhile, let's thank Almighty God for helping us to understand, oh, how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. Let us therefore hope and pray for the day when we will all sing His praise together. So welcome again, my people, and thank you one more time for those who share the link. As you bring first-timers, please continue to do so. I must always remind you as well that Straight Talk is a participative program. And by that I mean we include your calls and your emails. And if you're so minded, calling, numbers are on your monitors, on your screens. There are some of you who like what I call the cloak of anonymity. So we give you access via our email platform. We know that you don't want to be heard. And we understand, especially here in this neck of the woods, because we have a bunch of leaders or misleaders, or we have a bunch of people rather, who my Straight Talk family, who are vindictive to the true, underlying true sense of that word. So we give you access by our email platform, and that address is also on your screens. But we are duty bound to say a special welcome to our Straight Talk Junior Brigade, young Dwayne, Tristan, Jasmine, Shama, Kevin, Rue, Jamal, Travis, Travon, my grandson Neymar, Soraya, Elizabeth, and that special lady in St. Louis. We also want to say hi to Carla in Sandy Point, who Packard has convinced you to look at Straight Talk by now. I was a queen in Texas, and there's so many I would like to call, but I may just get into trouble. With all of you, a special welcome to Straight Talk. And we normally start with our observations and review. That's when we highlight our current issues. We do some reflection. We ask a few questions. We provide updates, clarifications, and most of all, we establish what we have learned as a people, because it's a learning process. Our first observation, my Straight Talk family, relates to that ferry accident involving the MV Apple in the port of Basseterre this morning, and which has left the Federation with more questions than answers. We are grateful, however, according to the government-owned television station ZIZ Television, that there was no loss of life being reported thus far. I heard that earlier today. I don't know if that situation has changed. I very much doubt so. But serious questions, however, have been raised about the safety and regulation of passenger ferry operations. And Straight Talk has to provide you with this information because it's important to us. But the ferry operations, in particular between Basseterre and Charlestown, we have been told that all 47 souls on board Apple Cider survived the ordeal, due in no small measure to the swift response of nearby private vessels and the St. Kitts and Nevis Defence Force Coast Guard, whose prompt action deserves commendation. Their professionalism and willingness to respond undoubtedly helped prevent what could have become a national tragedy. But while most, if not all, passengers were wearing life jackets, as can be gleaned from your screens, several glaring questions remain. 1. Where were the life rafts? Did the Apple Cider have approved life rafts on board? And if so, why were they not deployed during that emergency? Was the vessel not equipped with life rafts? If not, why not? And are life rafts mandatory for passenger vessels in particular, operating between Charlestown and Basseterre, or indeed for all passenger ferries operating within the Federation, especially since the vessel sank and had to be abandoned? So life rafts or actual emergency floating crafts would have better helped those on board the ferry to survive the crisis, albeit they all survived. Equally important are questions regarding the competence and certification of ferry captains and crews that operate vessels plying between the ports of Basseterre and Charlestown. What standards govern their training, qualification, and emergency preparedness of the crew? Are regular inspections and safety drills conducted and independently verified? There are also legitimate concerns regarding the type of vessels being used to ferry passengers across the Narrows. How many passengers, for example, should vessels powered by outboard gasoline engines be permitted to transport passengers between both ports? We understand this particular vessel has 4 350 horsepower outboard engines. In some ports, no more than 12 passengers, yes, 12, 1, 2. No more than 12 passengers are allowed on these passenger vessels with outboard motors. Is the current regulatory framework adequate to ensure public safety, or has it fallen behind the realities of modern passenger transport? And mark you, We have, I believe, just 3 passenger vessels that operate with diesel engines. But the majority of passenger ferries in recent times have been operating with outboard engines. And that must be a concern to everyone as relates to safety. When it comes to fire, there's also these vessels that, in terms of the boarding and disembarking, they operate this one point, and that point very near the outboard engines. But just as troubling is the silence from the authorities. The Minister with responsibility for maritime affairs, Marsha Henderson, has made no public statement to date, nor has the Department of Maritime Affairs, over which she exercises general direction and control. In an accident of this magnitude, I may hasten to add, the public deserves timely information, my Straight Talk family, and reassurance and a commitment to a thorough and transparent investigation. How can we forget the MV Christina disaster, albeit some 56 years ago, almost to that point, in August 1970? To date, one of the worst disasters in Caribbean maritime history, I may add. But today, the nation can breathe a sigh of relief that there have been no reported fatalities. Tomorrow, however, must be about accountability. The Federation cannot afford to wait until lives are lost before addressing weaknesses in maritime safety, in particular relation to the ferries that ply between St. Kitts and Nevis, my Straight Talk family. This incident should serve as a wake-up call to review every aspect of passenger ferry operations, from vessel standards and safety equipment to crew competence, regulatory oversight, and emergency response. The people of St. Kitts and Nevis deserve clear answers, not silence, from the ministry and Minister Marsha Henderson. Fortunately, this morning's accident ended with lives saved rather than lives lost. And that good fortune should never be mistaken for proof that the system is working. I make that point again. Fortunately, this morning's accident ended with lives saved rather than lives lost. But that good fortune should never be mistaken for proof that the system is working. And my second observation, my Straight Talk family, I relate to the Proud American Studios and the Homeland podcast. Dr. Ozzy, or Mehmet Ozzy, widely known as Dr. Ozzy, was confirmed as administrator of the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, where he oversees major U.S. public health insurance programs. Was interviewed by Dean Cain today on the Proud American Studios with his podcast, The Homeland. Releasing shortly as well will be another podcast by yours truly, which the hemisphere, or the Western Hemisphere to be exact, on the Proud American Studios, and that you'll hear much more about in the coming days. But those are my observations in review for tonight. And my Straight Talk family, I hasten to move right into my thesis for tonight, which I have titled, Mark's Betrayal of Nevisian People Made Irving and Vicki Turn in Their Graves. And almost every leader in St. Kitts and Nevis loves to weaponize their history. Don't you agree? They stand on political platforms beating their chests, reminding voters of the dirt floors they walked on, the small wooden or chattel houses that raised them, and the hard-working parents who sacrificed everything so they could wear imperial suits. For years as a politician, Mark Brantley has played this melody perfectly well. Quite frequently, he cloaks himself in the legacy of his late father Irving Brantley and late mother Cynthia Vicki Williams. May they both rest in eternal peace. But Mark Brantley has used the grit of Gingerland as a political shield, shouting down his opposition by proclaiming exactly whose son he is. And he has done that so often, my Straight Talk family.
My Nevisian, my navel string, my mother even didn't have money to carry me to born me in hospital. She born me right there in Scarborough. Right on them 4 stones in that little chattel house that we had. My navel string buried in Nevis. The people of Nevis have reposed their trust and confidence in me to lead them at this time. And I'm going to go and sign an agreement that limits the number of jobs that Nevisians can get. Me? Irving and Vicki's son?
But we'll get to that, my Straight Talk family. But history is a double-edged sword. When a leader continuously invokes the sacred names of his ancestors to gain power, he invites the public to judge his actions by the standards of those very ancestors. And today, as Nevis wrestles with economic stagnation, mounting debt, and a political leadership that feels increasingly detached from the common man, a painful truth is whispering through the villages. But Mark Brantley confessed that he can pretend that he's fulfilled at MEMS, but he's even more fulfilled when he sits with King Charles at Buckingham Palace, or more so with Oliver Johnson's on his yacht, my Straight Talk family.
Want to have a title so that they can feel that they're somebody, because in and of themselves they don't feel fulfilled. And maybe that's one of the things some people don't like about me, because I feel fulfilled when I go up by MEMS and I sit down and I chat with MEMS. I also feel fulfilled if I go to Buckingham Palace and I sit with King Charles, or if I go on a yacht. Since I went on a yacht the other day, that created such a scandal, it seems.
But he was on that yacht. He aspires nonetheless to go to Buckingham Palace to sit with King Charles. But Mark's utter betrayal of his people is enough to make Irving and Vicki turn in their graves. He sold out, or he is actually selling out, the soul of Nevis. Irving and Vicki belong to a proud generation of Nevisians who understood the true meaning of community, humility, and sacrificial labor. They did not work for titles. They worked for survival and the upliftment of their children. The late Irving and Vicki represented the bedrock of Nevisian identity, an identity anchored in integrity, thrift, getting good value, and a fierce, unyielding dedication to the collective well-being of Nevis. It was this unyielding or exact unyielding character that drew Irving into a lifelong tight-knit friendship with the late Sir Simeon Daniel, the legal giant and founding father of modern Nevis. And when a young Mark Brantley returned from studying law, it was the late Sir Simeon who took him into his chambers out of pure respect for his father Irving. And in those very offices which today bear the name Daniel Brantley, Simeon gave the young lawyer a stern warning that echoes like a haunting curse today. I can hear the late Sir Simeon now declaring to Mark, "Your father Irving is one of my closest friends." I can hear Simeon asking, "Young Mark, do you know why he and I get along so well?" And Simeon responded to his own rhetorical question and said this: "Because neither of us ever forgot what the soil of Gingerland tastes like." Irving did not send you to England, he told the young man, just to learn how to make wealthy foreigners wealthy, Mark. "The future of Nevis is its people," Simeon continued, tapping his finger firmly on the desk. "Look out that window," he beckoned. "The law isn't just a corporate ladder for you to climb. In these chambers, the law is a shield. When I fought for Section 113 in the Constitution," continued Simeon, the late Simeon Daniel, "when we built the Bank of Nevis, it wasn't for prestige. It was so that the small businessman in Charlestown, the farmer in Gingerland, and the fisherman in Indian Castle would never have to beg a foreign master for their daily bread." Brilliance without humility is a dangerous weapon. When clients walk through the door, or that door, said the late Sir Simeon, whether they are local laborers with a land dispute or a billionaire entity from London, treat them with the same dignity. You do not sell the soul of this island for a fat retainer fee. Simeon then pushed the old ledger across the desk to the young Mark Brantley and said these words: "This firm bears my name now, and one day it will bear yours. But remember this: the moment a lawyer or a leader starts looking down at his people from an ivory tower, he has already lost. Protect the land," he implored Mark Brantley. "Protect the people. Never barter the sovereignty we bled to give you." And I must repeat, in those very offices which today bear the name Daniel Brantley, Simeon gave young Mark Anthony Graham Brantley this stern warning that echoes like a haunting curse today. And I quote, "Brilliance without humility is a dangerous weapon. In these chambers, the law is a shield, so our people never have to beg a foreign master for their daily bread. The moment a leader starts looking down at his people from an ivory tower, he has already lost. Protect the land. Never batter away the sovereignty we bled to give you. And when Mark Brantley transitioned from a lawyer into the highest office in Nevis, the hope was that the values of Gingerland would govern the island. Instead, Nevis has witnessed a complete and total abandonment of those fundamental or foundational principles. The humility of the parents has been utterly replaced by the hubris, the arrogance, and desperation of the son. The absolute peak of this betrayal is Brantley's desperate, aggressive push for the highly controversial Destiny project. The Destiny betrayal, I call it. And look no further than the south coast of Nevis and this outrageous Destiny project. Mark Brantley wants to hand over 1/10 of Nevis to a foreign crypto billionaire or crypto millionaire for a semi-autonomous enclave, my straight dog family. 1/10 of Nevis, he wants to hand that over to Olivier Johnson's. And we always, like I said, provide you the evidence because you can glean from your monitors, my straight dog family. And we can read together. The site for Project Destiny at the southern coast of the island of Nevis comprises numerous parcels of land totaling 2.6 thousand acres, or 2,670 acres to be exact. And my straight dog family, that equals to about 4 square miles and just about 1/10 of Nevis. And while local families struggle to buy a single plot of land, this administration in Nevis, the CCM administration, is enabling a free city scheme, rather, where foreign tech elites can hide behind their own rules, their own courts, and their own cryptocurrency. And they are using our sacred CBI program to mask the corporate plunder of our soil. And this, Olivier Johnson himself confessed.
And how the CBI gonna work when it comes to buying a condo or a home? If by buying that, if you're gonna have shares to sell. Do that come with shares? How does that works?
You mean CBI or because I'm not?
Yes. So where the funding gonna come? Yes. How does that work? Usually CBI mean you get amount of shares and then you sell the passport. The money will help to develop the project and stuff like that. So how does that work for your project?
Well, technically, it is when you buy a unit, right? The moment you have you have paid down at least $325,000, if I'm correct, you have a right to a passport, right? So we're talking to the government to make sure that every unit that gets sold also has an obligation or to get a passport with that unit. So there's a guaranteed CBI income per unit that is sold, if that makes any sense. I'm not going to go into the technical details because I don't want to say anything that's incorrect. But the whole idea is that the CBI program will be involved and Vicki and Nevis would get CBI income from units being sold, yes. Obligated, yes.
Imagine that, my straight dog family. 10,000 shares or investment units at $325,000 US per share or per investment unit. And my mathematics, as I've always told you, is my strongest weak point. But do the calculation for me. and tell me if I am right or wrong. But 10,000 shares at 325,000 US dollars per share or investment unit equals 3.25 billion US dollars. 300 or $3,250,000,000 or Eastern Caribbean dollars $8.78 billion. And no matter what Terence Michael Drew says, my Straight Talk family, the Destiny Project cannot, underline, the Destiny Project cannot go forward without the CIU or Cabinet's approval of 10,000 CBI applications, which can equate to 40,000 passports. Well, ask yourselves the question. If the prison project was criminal according to Terence Michael Drew, with 5,500 shares, then what is destiny? Should somebody go to jail? Ask yourselves the question. 5,500 shares was a big scam, according to the Attorney General. Then what is destiny? Somebody should go to jail. I submit. The destiny, betrayal, and the conflict of interest is another issue. And look no further than the south coast of Nevis and the outrageous Destiny Project. Brantley wants to hand over our land to a foreign crypto millionaire to build a semi-autonomous enclave. And who is facilitating these transactions behind the scene? Who? His own wife, Sharon Mama Brantley, acts as the real estate agent, securing these very land deals through a company, 17 Degrees North Realtors. And what did Mark say to us?
Developer is a company, as I believe it's called South Nevis Limited, and that company is working with my wife. So she's acting as a go-between between her client, who's the developer, and landowners, and asking if they're minded to sell their land.
Imagine that, a go-between the land owners and the developer, asking them if they will sell their land. And Brantley's household stands to benefit over $100 million, my Street Dog family. But there's a federal oversight standoff. And while they carve up our islands, Brantley is actively fighting the federal government to avoid accountability. He has locked the Nevis Island administration into a hostile standoff against the federal oversight and review structures, my Straight Talk family.
The Destiny Project, let me just report that the federal government would have written to us on the 30th of April and would have indicated that the committee set up in St. Kitts had various concerns. In our opinion, the majority of those concerns had nothing to do with St. Kitts or the committee, because those concerns fell squarely within the constitutional authority of the Nevis Island Administration. And some of those concerns we thought were, how should I put it, unfortunate. They said that this community will be a community of wealthy individuals, and that will create a sort of Nevis where you have some haves and have-nots. And our response went out on the 8th of May to the cabinet in St. Kitts. I can tell you that today we intend to dispatch a further letter, because we've heard nothing further, asking whether or not we can have a response within the next 7 days.
Imagine that, my Straight Talk family. Why? Because transparent oversight means the public sees exactly where the money goes, how the revenue is split, and who is profiting off of our national assets. The Premier of Nevis lied about jobs for Nevisians on the Destiny project if approved. He lied through his big teeth, as someone said to me the other day. Lied, my straight dog family. Because we showed you the proposal. And we need to show you one more time that proposal, my straight dog family. It is clear, lucid, as my good friend would say. And I post it one more time on your monitors, on your screens. And you can glean for yourself, my straight dog family. Only 5% of Nevisians or locals from St. Kitts and Nevis would benefit from a job. I read it before for you and I'll read it again. Underline, my straight dog family. The majority of retail restaurant employees were assumed to live in Destiny, with 5% assumed to live outside of Destiny. These commuters will need to access Destiny through the West Gate and take Robovan from there. So where will the 95% come from? The Philippines? India? Where will they come from? China? These are questions that have to be answered, my straight dog family. And it continues. I've underlined the last sentence as well, my straight dog family. As with restaurant and retail employees, 5% of these employees are assumed to live outside Destiny and will need to commute through the West Gate and take the Robovan. So why is Mark telling so many lies? Furthermore, my straight dog family, this project will pay no taxes and will be exempt from customs duties and inspections, as all imports will arrive in Bonn. And you know what in Bonn means, my straight dog family? Because the development is structured as a special economic zone, SEZ. Its core mechanism relies on being completely tax exempt to attract wealthy foreign investors and crypto businesses. So in Bonn means there's a bypass, or oversight rather is bypass. Because under the draft SSZ framework, goods would arrive in Bonn, meaning they bypass standard customs duties and typical strict territorial inspections. So this deprives the local economy of tax revenue and creates a legal black box on Nevisian soil. Imagine, customs on no one, period, can break the seals of a Destiny container. They will be free to bring in their guns and their drugs. Could you imagine that? Not one customs officer dare break a seal of any container consigned to the Destiny project. So they are free to traffic their guns and their drugs. I can't say money because they are into cryptocurrency. But the egregious matter, or the contentious matter, relates to Gingerland. It's about the security wall and enclave concerns. And I must admit, I must confess, my Straight Talk family, that I misspoke last Thursday when I posted the information about that security wall, my Straight Talk family. I confess one more time that I misspoke. I misspoke because what I said to you was or should have been the reverse. When I pointed out the broken lines, I referred to it as the wall. But the wall, as you can glean, if you follow that arrow, my Straight Talk family, to your right, it says security wall. That arrow leads to the blue line. So the security wall is in fact the blue line, and the broken white lines are in fact the road. So I want to correct that tonight. The broken line is the road, or what I call the physical segregation. One of the most emotionally charged aspects of the public backlash involves this proposed security perimeter or security wall. And the community's primary grievances regarding the Gingerland Infrastructure Center on three major issues. The fragmentation of Gingerland. Look at the layout details, my Straight Talk family, that have come to hand. That the developers acquired nearly 190 acres of land directly in the heart of Gingerland, stretching well above the island's main thoroughfare, the main road. And that routing is a highly monitored, secure perimeter through an existing community and effectively slices Gingerland in two parts, my Straight Talk family. It cuts Gingerland in two parts. And this creates an immediate logistical nightmare for residents attempting, or will rather, create an immediate logistical nightmare for residents who will attempt to access schools, churches, farms, and family homes on either side of the boundary. This is what Mark Brantley is doing, or trying to do to Nevis, my Straight Talk family. The island main road is a critical artery for local transit on Nevis. And there will be a definite disruption of the island main road on Nevis. Proposals that place parts of this thoroughfare under the jurisdiction or security oversight of the Destiny Project must have raised immense alarm. And residents must fear that even if the road is physically left open, the looming presence of security architecture, checkpoints, or surveillance will restrict native Nevisians' freedom of movement within their own parish of Gingerland. The physical existence of an elite security wall, paired with zones' rights to enforce its own regulations, internally that is, creates a strong psychological and practical barrier. A gated, heavy police enclave designed for high net worth expats fundamentally contradicts the open, community-oriented nature of the island. And under the SZA, the Special Sustainability Zones Act, Federal oversight must weigh environmental impact, constitutional rights, and public access before granting final approvals. And my straight up family, the structure of local land offers and displacements must be also considered. Olivia Johnson's of Destiny is carving out a legal black box where local police, customs officers, court bailiffs, and others have limited or modified powers that undermines the rule of law. My straight dog family undermines the rule of law and creates a two-tiered system of justice, one for wealthy foreign crypto investors and another for native citizens. They will cannibalize our CBI program. The project explicitly aims, as I said before, to tunnel or funnel 10,000 property buyers through the Citizenship by Investment program. However, because Destiny seeks an independent, semi-autonomous enclave status, it risks driving a wedge into the federal treasury's control. If the enclave creates a parallel, untaxed economic bubble, it fails to generate standard domestic multiplier effects like VAT or local income spending. And my straight dog family, the IMF and the ECCB, has already viewed the financial and structural model of the Destiny Project with extreme skepticism. So whether neither institution interferes directly in the local zoning politics of Nevis, their strict regulatory frameworks and published regional economic guidelines highlight that crypto-centric special economic zones pose severe macro-financial risks to the Eastern Caribbean Currency Union. And my straight dog family, disrupting the single currency union is a great concern, because allowing a parallel privately regulated crypto economy to operate autonomously inside Nevis will disrupt the central bank's control over regional money supply and liquidity. Yes, it would, my straight dog family. And in summary, the technical consensus from the IMF and the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank is that the Destiny Project's financial model is extractive rather than constructive. And what that means, my straight dog family, without attempting to insult your intelligence, an extractive economic model is designed to remove wealth, resources, and value from a specific area or population to benefit a small elite group of outsiders. It creates enclave economies, wealthy bubbles surrounded by local poverty. Whereas a constructive economic model is designed to build up the host country's core capacity, thus creating shared prosperity, expanding economic opportunities, and leaving a permanent positive structural footprint. And there's a history of other countries that will prove that whenever a small island nation concedes its courts, customs, and constitutional geography to private foreign developers, the outcome is almost universally extractive. It triggers international financial blacklisting. It fuels domestic displacement and ends in legislative repeal. Although Mark Brantley is bought out by Destiny and Olivia Johnson, that he has really agreed or proposed a punitive clause that would cost the government millions if it has to be repealed. But my straight talk family, in conclusion, if betrayal has a lasting legacy, it is the erosion of trust. Those who built their lives defending the interests and dignity of Nevis would scarcely recognize the politics of today. If the principles championed by Irving, Brantley, and Vicki Williams have been abandoned for political convenience, then their memories stand as a silent indictment. History will ultimately decide whether Mark Brantley's choices advanced Nevis or betrayed the very cause his parents devoted their lives to. The people of Nevis will ultimately judge not by promises or political speeches, but by actions and their consequences. When loyalty to principle gives way to political expediency, the cost is borne by an entire nation. And if the values that Irving and Vicki lived and fought for have been cast aside, then history will record this chapter for what many believe it to be: Mark's betrayal of the Nevisian people that made Irving and Vicki turn in their graves. And that's my story tonight, my Straight Dog family, and I am not going to change it. I will open the lines and entertain your calls and your emails. But before I do, I must implore you to respect others. And of course, to achieve that, you must first respect yourselves. Let us try to be fair to all concerned. And my Straight Talk family, let us try to build goodwill and better friendships. And in the process of saying and doing those things, my Straight Talk family, let us strive to build a kinder, gentler St. Kitts and Nevis. It's now 9 o'clock, right on top of the hour. And I go straight to the lines and take my first caller and say, good night, caller. You are live. Hello, caller.
Good night. Good night, Mr. Liver.
Good night, my dear. And how art thou tonight?
I am great.
Always.
He who uses the office.
He who uses the office.
He owes to the voters.
He owes to the voters.
Wrongfully and against them.
And against them. Mm-hmm.
Is a thief.
Is a thief.
I repeat, he who uses the office he owes to the voters wrongfully and against them is a thief. Have a great evening.
Have a great evening, my dear, my Straight Talk family. I have always heard my grandmother say that a liar is a thief, but this is something new. I like this one. And for my quotationist across the Narrows there in Nevis, he who uses the office he owes to the voters, wrongfully and against them, is a thief. Imagine that. Caller, thank you for holding you alive. Hello, caller.
Mr. Straight Talk.
Hi, dear caller. Hello, caller.
Mr. Straight Talk.
Abracadabra.
Abracadabra. I don't know what's going on with something is not going on good with the line. I don't know what it is.
Your line?
Yeah, it come like it was coming from your end, and it come like it was coming from my end, but no, it's like it's gone.
It's gone.
You there?
We are hearing you loud and clear. There are no issue.
Yes. So how are you, Mr. Straight Talk, my brother?
I am peaceful, my brother. And yourself?
Yes, it's good. It's good to hear your voice, and it's good to see you. You look real refreshed and everything. Mr. Straight Talk, I happy for you because my brother come and telling me something about some boat and something. If I ain't hear nothing about the boat, so I tell him no. So he quickly tell me, well, the boat went into problem and this is what happened, and he gonna they had on so many people. But now I put on the news to get the news from ZIZ to say what actually happened. I left ZIZ with more trouble than what you said under here. ZIZ hasn't explained nothing like what you said, and you didn't go overboard. You just give what you got. I telling him that the boat sink. He's saying, what? What boat was sink? I said, look straight at. So somebody just sent me the video of the thing. That thing is underwater. You can't see of that thing. I have no idea what went on today. And then the Prime Minister says he went up to the hospital. The minister don't come and say, well, look, nobody says nothing of what happened, could have happened today. Sure. How these people allow this thing to go on? Not even an address from the Prime Minister to say, look, we almost had a disaster today. Thanks be to God that because of God's blessing, this is nothing from these people. How we live like that? I don't know. Think it's going backward. Going backward. These people better get themselves together because this is a hold. Understand? All over the airwaves, it should have been saying, well, look, this is what happened. We avoid an accident today. And this is what we are going to... Not even the commissioner, they must say, look, we're going to do a thorough investigation. Nothing. These people they're going to just let this thing pass off like that. Anyway, Mr. Streetak, I think I said enough now. I feel so bad with what these people done there.
You ought to feel bad because, as you rightly said, the people of St. Kitts and Nevis deserve clear answers and not silence, As I said, fortunately, this morning's accident ended with lives saved rather than lives lost. But that's good fortune, I call it. Should never be mistaken.
It's a good fortune, but Lord, make it it's a blessing. So come out and say, listen, man, this is what happened, and we give God thanks. We give all thank you should be celebrating today that they don't have to go bury their loved ones tomorrow. Yep. And nothing is a silent thing. Man, thank you people should have been marching and going into in town tomorrow. No. What happened yesterday? We don't want it to happen tomorrow. We want to know what. Instead of that whole place is silent. Oh, no. Mr. Streetak, I'm going to leave you alone, not because I'm hurting with this thing. Understand?
I feel your pain, my brother. I feel your pain. Yes.
I'm hurting with this thing because of the government silent and the minister silent. Nobody come out to say, well, look, we almost had a disaster today. And thanks be to God because of who God is and the people lend a helping hand. We were able, all these lives were saved. Nothing. Mr. Streetak, I'm going to see you, man. I think I talk enough for the night. I'm just going to do what I got to do. I'm going to see you around, my brother. You take care of yourself. Thank you because of you. The whole world know what went down today. God bless you. See you when I see you. Abracadabra.
See you when I see you, my brother from another mother. And yes, it is troubling. The silence from the authorities. The Minister with responsibility for maritime affairs, Marsha Henderson, has not uttered one word. She has made no public statement, nor has the Department of Maritime Affairs, over which she exercises control and direction. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Mr. Liber.
Hi, dear.
Can you imagine we haven't heard anything from Dr. Drew about this incident this morning?
Not a thing.
And Mr. Harris is not the Prime Minister. And Mr. Harris come out and make a statement about it. Can you imagine? We here in the Federation I can't imagine he's the Prime Minister have come out and said nothing. We're in trouble here in the Caribbean, in the Federation, you know?
Yes.
We're in trouble. Have a great evening.
Have a great evening as well, my straight up family. Yes, I heard the third Prime Minister made a statement. I have not been able to download that statement, but if I do, I'll try and play it tonight. Caller, thank you for holding your live. Hello, caller.
Yeah, Patches, good evening, man. How you doing tonight, man?
I am peaceful, my brother. Yourself?
Yeah, pretty good. I'm just gonna state this real clearly tonight. St. Kitts and Nevis is operating like a dysfunctional society. There's no doubt about it. Man, Patches, thank God lives were saved today. I'm gonna say this really clearly. I could have been a passenger on the Christina if my mother traveled to St. Kitts that weekend. Patches, I was 1.5 years old, I think, if my math is correct. If I was on that journey, from my parents and my grandparents, my grandma, I think my grandma was in St. Kitts actually. My mother was supposed to take that trip down with her that day. She didn't go. And I know as a 1.5-year-old baby, if my mother traveled, I would have definitely been with my mother. I would not have been here today, Patches. Trust me on that. So I said, thank God for that.
Yep.
Man, the minister and the prime minister and whoever, like NASPER and those type of persons, the seaport, the authority from the seaport, the Coast Guard, all of these people should have been on the podium today, all now, if need be, to give the live update as to what happened today. You can see where these guys' mindset are. They don't really care about the people. And that boat operator, if an investigation should take place, and if any violations, they should be fined and be held responsible, whether they saved lives today or not. If there were inconsistencies and violations, which there must be some, they should be held accountable so that this don't happen in the future. Patches, man, let me just say quickly before other people start calling in, I want to say thank you for bringing the information on this Destiny project, because I know I was one of the callers that came on here and asked you vividly to do that. And I'm just going to say thank you again, man. Tonight is probably at least the second night you went at it. This information you brought tonight, I just hope everybody is listening. Man, what's happening in Nevis is very disappointing. Even the citizens, they don't have the courage. Man, Patches, 2 men in the Federation, the Prime Minister and the Premier, they got the Federation deadlocked. There is no opposition across the Narrows. These 2 fellas, they're going to run away with all reckless spending and all manner of evil to the citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis. If we don't come off this path, we are not going to end up good. And let me just cite you guy, Peter Adrian, that is the economist.
Yep.
He was on the radio again today, repeating what he said last week. The country is in a financial situation, and all these guys are doing is running up the debt and being reckless with the spending. All the projects that's coming, like you highlighted tonight, they're coming through the CBI program. If persons stated that the prison project was a criminal act, and these persons in authority went in, and they're not going to hold anyone accountable going forward, They are bamboozling and hoodwinking the people.
Yes.
They don't have the moral character, Patches. And we know what the penalty for treason is. The persons, the electorates underground, they now have to revolutionize their brains. Because guess what? They are responsible for putting these politicians in place. These politicians, they don't have the moral character. Patches, when you put your hand on that Bible and you raise your hand and you swear to uphold and protect the Constitution, country above self, that's not what happening in St. Kitts Nevis right now.
Yes,
These fellas, they only caring about their pockets and their cronies. And Dr. Drew, he is not a strong leader. He is in collusion with the premier, and he should not be.
Okay.
All the points that you pointed out tonight, and when you was talking about guns and drugs could be coming in on that south side of Nevis.
Of course.
If the prime minister don't care about such things, he too don't have that character. And to see that this is where these guys are pushing St. Kitts and Nevis, it is very disappointing. And I'll leave it there, Patches, man, unless somebody is coming. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much. Imagine that. All the shipments would be bonded in bond according to the proposal. And all that simple means, get your minds together here. If a container is in transit here in St. Kitts, no customs dare break that seal. Nobody has the authority to inspect these containers, whether they're full of drugs or full of guns. Is that what we want? And no matter what Terrence Michael Drew says, the Destiny Project cannot go forward unless the Citizenship by Investment Unit approves the 10,000 applications and the cabinet ratifies that recommendation. Do not be fooled, my Straight Talk family. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
A pleasant good evening to you.
Good evening, my dear. Sounds like the dimple lady. I got that voice. Yes.
How are you doing?
I am peaceful. Yourself?
Well, I'm giving God thanks. So, I'm good. I'm going through the time being.
Good to hear you.
Yeah. That is, we in a lot of trouble in this federation. And we taking it like, I must say, you take up some tea in a spoon and you start to drink. Nobody really interested. We in a lot of trouble here. We have a lot of export people, liar, crazy psychopath running this country here with us. And they ain't know what they're doing. All what they do, they go on the radio and everything, they blame the government what was in first, and that is it. They blaming them. This one here down here, every minute he blaming the farmer government what was in. And up to now, he ain't put nothing to say, well, this here come from him. All what he doing is doing what the farmer government left. What they say ain't do nothing. They blaming the government. They want to put Nevis up there, the snake, the lawyer there, they were snake. Every time he go on, he blaming NRP. And he said, NRP only win one election. But now if you win one election, and you winning all the rest election them, why are you straight in on top of them? Because them only win one, and you win so much. Why are you straight in on top of them? You ain't have nothing to show. You in there for so many elections where you say you win, you have nothing to show for it. But you blaming them and them only win one election. We don't know which part we're going in this country here with those lawyers, you know.
Yes, yes.
We don't know which part we're going. And me tell you, I listen the story of command and freedom today. And I don't believe it's people then just really listen the real facts. They listen garbage. And what the man said today, we in a lot of trouble. A lot of trouble. Think it's a Nevis people in listening today.
Trouble.
I really not the man. Past trouble. So if you got any money in the national bank, you could say if you could take out some money down and you bed or some about and where that when they come to cut you a haircut, you ain't got no back. That's what you have to do. Yes, so get rid of some, take it off, put it hard. Old people they used to put them all in a plastic and bury them in a dot and what's not. So maybe you got to go do the same thing because they go into your bank, collect haircut, and go to some people.
Okay, my dear, let's hope not. But they are spending like drunken sailors, you know?
Yes, they told you anything about it, you know. When they did there, especially the one that sneak up on Nevis, they must sell passport, sugar cake and black pudding from the market.
Sugar cake, yeah.
And now he gone in there, he sell more and what who he was judging. He selling more, so what be really going on? Who is falling who?
Yes, my dear.
Wow. But I will check back later if I get back in. I have something else to say.
Okay, my dear. Thanks for your contribution as always, my straight dog family. And yes, we go back to the lines and thank this caller for holding caller. You alive. Hello,
good night, good night, my brother and friend Ian Patches Libert. Good night to all the listeners. This is the voice of one of your political activists, fighting soldier for the good and the benefit for the people of the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis in all good moving forward. As it is right now, and it continues going back then until now, the people of the Federation and St. Kitts was misled by the Premier in Nevis, because he was first, and the Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis. Rule of thumb, too narrow-minded, incompetent leaders. They have no dignity, they have no empathy, they have no sympathy, and they have no compassion. Their hearts are dry like a rock from inside out. Even when a rock lives in water, they are still dry. Look, can you imagine in Christina time? Hope that nothing like that would have happened. Lives lost in Christina time. Thanks be to the Lord, the Highly Almighty, for no life lost with, I think it's the apple cider boat that transport people from Nevis to St. Kitts, vice versa. Neither the Prime Minister, neither the Premier, neither the Minister of Tourism, no one comes out as yet. They should have been immediately telling the nation what wrong. And thanks be to God, as some other callers made, we should be celebrating life. And they are silent, or what are they waiting for? This is not leadership. Leadership, you're on everything that affect the nation, and even when it's good. And they have not done one thing as yet. People of the Federation of St. Kitts, are these the leaders you are gonna continue with, or you're gonna dump them for the next upcoming election? The worst of man who you might think might not be a leader. Give him a chance. Give me a chance for a seat, and I will fight for you. I will fight for you. Whether you vote against me or you vote for me. Give me number 8. Give me constituency 8. I beg. I will not fail you. I am pleading. I will plead just like any other one. But I shall not fail you. I shall not fail you. My Lord, we need compassionate, empathetic leaders who will help the people of the nation that they are put in charge to govern. Last but not least, please, people, let us save the nation, not just Nevis. We're talking about St. Kitts and Nevis. Now, we here are fighting. We here in the diaspora are fighting the fight from outside within. Some of you take us for granted. Some of you think we are BS. We are not.
Okay.
We are bona fide fighters for you and for the future of our future children yet to come.
Okay.
Please help us and give us a chance. Thank you once again. I appreciate the time.
Thank you very much. We go back to the lines and thank this caller for holding. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Greetings, Mr. Labor. How are you?
I am peaceful, my brother. Yourself?
I'm very good myself.
Always good to hear you.
Yes, brother. Thanks for that. Always good to listen to your program from years back. I'm an anchor to your program.
Thank you.
Very informative. Mr. Labor, in one of your observation posts, you talk about the ferry accident that took place today. And I agree with you. This is something that should be investigated, not just be news, but it's something that should be investigated so that in the future, whatever the investigation find out, it can reoccur because it was very serious, even though it may not sound so serious, but it was very, very serious. Anything that life involves is very serious. And traveling on the boat this morning, Mr. Labor, because I was one of the passenger on the boat.
You were?
I was one of the passenger on the boat this morning, going over to Nevis. And looking at some observation on the boat, I hear you talk about safety and regulations, etc. tonight, maritime safety. And sometimes I wonder how some of these boats in here get licensed so in one between St. Kitts and Nevis for true. Because why we must have ferry traveling between St. Kitts and Nevis and no rescue is on those ferries. I mean, I find that very deplorable for safety protocols. And when that ferry come about a shop this morning, and you hear that cracking sound coming from below the boat, sound like when wood is splintering, and that boat continues, and then you hear that sudden sound again. I mean, it wasn't. You must ask yourself questions about safety. And when you hear that the boat yard need to be taken from local, where most of the boat depends on for maintenance, these are things I ask myself as a citizen. What will really happen to the boat traveling between St. Kitts and Nevis when it comes about maintenance? They should see that the regulation of boat maintenance is properly kept. The safety regulations must be reformed. And in the past I hear persons who are running for politics talk about insurance for passengers who travel on boats. And up to now, you ain't hear no reform of anything. It seems as though the boat owners everything is rested upon them. What happened to compensation for passengers when difficulty arises? These are things must be put into view when it comes on reform. You talk about Mr. Brantley betrayal at the Nevisians. Wait for the minute he bring the unity administration from office, he betrayed Nevisians. Because he wasn't there because the CCM was the government. He was there between a unity structure. And even though he feels something was wrong on one piece, he ain't done nothing to hold the other piece together. He brings it right down. So that's strictly betrayal there. And the World Bank report, he makes so much fuss about this, and to show some integrity, he needs to publish the World Bank report that the people of the Federation could really see if he was done getting his fair share, yes or not. And this project in Nevis, Mr. Labor, I always ask myself, if the CBI, if these Jensen, is depending on the CBI funds to push this project, why can't the NIA use the same CBI funds and push the project as a government project? And it show more liberation development for the nationals of the country. Why can't they do that? And you know why can't they do that? Because the NIA is full of lazy politicians. They're not hard working. They're full of drama. They're really hard working for the people. And it's very, very shameful. Mr. Libert, you continue to be strong.
Let me ask you a question, if I can, Carla, because you stunned me when you said you were actually on the Apple side. Am I correct?
Yes, I did. I was.
And you're very casual about it. But
I have to be, because to tell you the honest truth, I travel between St. Kitts and Nevis
often.
And
okay.
And I always ask myself how it would be to find yourself sinking on a boat.
So you said you heard I'm sorry, go ahead, sir. I'm sorry. You said you heard a cracking sound.
Yes. When the boat, because the water wasn't calm, and so other people on the boat could testify to what I'm saying, because it was a hard sound. And the boat continued still. I don't know if the captain had heard it from first, because he upstairs.
Oh.
And the boat continued going. And then you hear this cracking sound again from below. And I think it continued, and then people start to make a little noise, and the captain now make a turn to turn back to Bastille.
Uh-huh.
But in him making the turn, he make the turn hard. So he helped take on more water. because not only that, he had boxes of bananas on the boat as well. So that also constrained the whole some of the weight down on the boat.
Mm.
And you know, the persons who in charge at the seaport and the Nevis port, they got to regulate how some of these boats take on cargo along with the passengers. Because they got to be more.
But everybody, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Everybody seemed to have had a life vest on from the pictures I saw, right? And you had
yes,
those on.
they did pass out life vest. And to tell you the truth, when they gave me a life vest, I hold it in my hand. I just held it in my hand to tell you the honest truth. And then I asked somebody to help me put it on. And to tell you the honest truth, I can't swim, honestly speaking. But I ain't got my mind to go down. I got my mind to survive. And when one of the guys said, man, because the boat from St. Martin, the boat was going St. Martin, it was on its way about to go St. Martin, you know, and probably they observed what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
And they are the ones who reach over first to really show their assistance.
But there was
sorry?
But there was no life raft on board the vessel.
No, there was no life raft.
Wow.
There was just the
life vest.
Life vest, wow. And they gave out the life vest to the passengers. And when that boat come alongside the sinking boats that we were on, well, some of the passengers started to jump on and they see a boat, and the other guy said, man, now you jump. And Mr. Patches, I watch in the distance and I keeping myself devised to when to jump. And for my jump, Mr. Patches, I just paddle until I reach that boat and held on to the rope, and I get assistance and anchor myself on top the same boat for going to St. Martin.
Give thanks to God, my brother.
All the time, brother. Yes. And to tell you the honest truth, regulations, and the public need to feel that form of regulation going forward.
Yes.
You take care. God bless.
God bless you, my brother. I have to give God thanks for saving your life. And yes, there are several glaring questions remain. Where were the life rafts for this vessel? Did the vessel have approved life rafts on board? And if so, why were they not deployed during that emergency? Is it mandatory for these ferries to have life rafts on board? You know? But my Stray Dog family, there are many questions that have to be answered, and I'm sure they would be answered in due course. But the authorities are silent. The ministry is silent. But I want to make the point that while we give God thanks and while we breathe a sigh of relief that there have been no reported fatalities, that caller just said he cannot swim. But tomorrow, however, it must be about accountability. We cannot afford to wait until lives are lost before addressing the obvious weaknesses in maritime safety, as there are. And this incident should serve as a wake-up call to review every aspect of passenger ferry operations, from vessel standards and safety equipment to crew competence, regulatory oversight, and emergency response. Hold up, pop. I think it's a fiberglass bottom. So something must have popped below there. And a hole in the bottom. Were there any bilge pumps? Is this vessel, and I think it's a catamaran type of vessel. So why would it just start going to the bottom? It obviously took on water coming from the bottom. But let's not, for one moment, think that the good fortune or mistake the good fortune for proof that the system is working. It's not working. Caller, you're live. Thank you for holding.
Yeah, Patrice, good night.
Good night, my brother.
Hey, Patrice, first I always want to give God thanks for life. And give God thanks for a blessed country federation, think it Nevis. And I want to give God thanks for you, Straight Talk, coming on and inspire the federation and the diaspora of what taking place in our land, on our land. Patrice, well informed. I mean, Patrice, with the situation with the boat this morning, and then bring it on. That maybe that ain't gonna pop them up enough for the election. You know, that like is nothing. That ain't election date or something to talk about as far as me concerned. But I know it's something serious, and that's supposed to don't come on the news and let the people know what's really going on in the maritime affairs in this country. But you see, the government full of so much politics and so much evil. Now, Patrice, I'm going to move on to the Destiny project. Patrice, don't you think a project like that, with a next generation coming into Nevis, don't you think that project, the premier of Nevis, should not call for a referendum? Put it to the people? Patrice, now, young people are listening and aware of what's going on, me sure now. And I just hope that especially the more knowledgeable one who will follow up the politics, listen to this Mark Brantley and the Prime Minister when they talk about this Destiny project. Because Patrice, you see that how in this think it here. Money went down the drain with some of these projects and our Sigway program. Look at the La Valley project. Look at the Gideon thing down there. The, what do you call it again? The Horse Track. The White Gate project. These projects were failed, Patrice. These projects, some of these projects with our CBI money pumping into, and nothing done. All this country money gone down the drain. Now I hear Mr. Peter Agent say, Coach Agent say to the and the program, so that if government doing back check and tax other tax, they put down different tax for the people of this country that they got to go to the AMS. And it's so sad to see our country getting into, because these men who elect to run the country, they support themselves, their friends and family, taking our civilian money and doing all kind of nonsense with it. Patrice, everything out of them about Timothy now get back. I can't understand people, especially young people. Suppose we are going on and listen to Straight Talk, listen to other programs, listen to social media, and see where these leaders going with our country. But it's not a good sign. It's not a good sign at all. But it's a wonderful. May God bless you and keep you, and continue to really reveal the things them what's going on in the federation. And I hope them in the diaspora coming for music festival. See how slow the country be, see our the economy and everything. And that because I lack a leadership. We lack a prime minister there. He ain't nothing but he ain't an economist. He's a doctor. He don't nothing but running the country as far as I'm concerned. That is a wonderful night again. God bless you, man. If I get back.
God bless you as well, my dear brother. And yes, the Destiny Project is going to absorb 1/10 of Nevis if it is approved. And it cannot be approved. Understand this. This project cannot be approved unless the cabinet of Terence Michael Drew approves or issues 10,000 shares or investment units to Olivia Johnson. Caller, I want to thank you for holding. You are live. Hello, caller.
Hi, Patrice.
Hi, my dear. How about thou?
I'm good. Question: this Destiny project that they have here, and it's in the CBI program and whatever. Who is going to sign off on those passports?
Only one man can. That's the well, if you sign up on the commission, sorry, the certificates of registration, only one person can sign them. That's the Prime Minister. But having signed
that's what I'm saying.
Yes, having signed that to get a passport. Yeah. Only he can sign it.
So that's what. Yeah, but that's why Mark saying that passport in the sure okay, because Mark now about this Destiny project, because Mark was the Minister of Foreign Affairs. Mm-hmm. And Mark didn't have plan with that project. So that's why Mark come back and disfigure up team unity. Because he not definite that he will come through this when Timothy was in that couldn't come through. So he know that. That's why he disfigure up team unity. You had him around table the other day, and one media asked him about the Destiny project. He said he not preventing, he can't stop Nevis to do no project because of the Constitution. So he waiting on him, so what's really going on? Who fool you know?
Only the CIU, the Citizenship by Investment Unit, can recommend the applications, the CBI applications, and only the cabinet of the federal cabinet can approve that recommendation. So unless they so Drew is telling a lie. That project won't go forward unless he approves the 10,000 applications.
But that's what I'm saying. I listen very carefully. That's what I'm saying. But Mark said that he waiting for the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister said he not prevent them because a media asked him the question, and he said that he not preventing them from doing the project. Okay. He not preventing them from doing any project. So who is fooling who?
He's lying.
Who is fooling who?
He's lying. Drew is lying, as usual.
And Mark don't know that Mark know what he getting or he is going to get out of that project. Because again, his wife is a real estate person for that project. And he tell himself if that project go through, he know what he going to get out of it. And when the Nevis people them come down on him, he just take up his Georgie bungalow and go where his wife come from. So then he wouldn't see Nevis people and Nevis people wouldn't see because his wife is not from Nevis. So he don't have all the plans. That's why he don't say nobody could outsmart he. If you are listening to his words good. When people talk, listen to their words good and understand what they mean by that. What they mean by that. The same thing that they cut on when I'm talking about, when Simon's talking about that Pam had 4 seats when Pam supposed to be the leader. Do he know how they come by the 4 seat? Do he know how we come by the 4 seat? That's why when they ask Sean if they're going to join with the PLP, Sean said they must first go out and canvass outside there and then see how strong they be, then they could talk about joining. And so come back to the 4 seat. Timothy canvass in every constituency. Timothy went and canvassed with them. So what they're talking about, they're about Pam in 4 seats and now Timothy only have 1. Let them leave Timothy alone. Let them leave Mr. Harris alone. Because let me tell, I hear one somebody talk about give them a chance. Give them a chance. Well, they don't know anything about government. They don't know one thing about government. And I heard Mr. Southwell say he so rest in eternal peace that a lot of them believe that ruling a country is like a piece of land over. But it's more to it than that. All of everyone coming in and outside and coming and talk about this. If he talk about give you a seat, if Timothy now be the leader, be Prime Minister again for the country, let Labour tap in there. Because whoever going, so they don't know think about government and they only going to get it worse. So if fact remain, if they don't want, right now I can't treat the man today with the finance business, saying it is in a big trouble, in big finance problem right now. And if somebody not go in there who know how to monitor, I don't know what to say. Anyway, thanks for listening. And that's my little piece.
Thanks for your intervention. Very solid. And someone has sent me a message that I raised the issue of life rafts, and they said those vessels use life rings. But if I understand what a life ring is, it's like a life buoy, and kind of passenger vessel that takes or carries, I think, 70 or less. I understand that there were some 47 passengers on board. Then something has to be wrong with the regulations. I mean, how many life rings can you have 50 life buoys on ring buoys, they call them? A life buoy or life ring is a circular flotation device, carried on passenger vessels, yes, and other ships. And it's to provide immediate protection to a person who has fallen overboard, not 47 passengers or 60 passengers. Imagine if that apple cider was in the Narrows. Wow, we were fortunate that it was in proximity to shore, just our Port Zante there. So there are many questions to be answered nonetheless. That is the point I want to make. Whatever it is, whether if this vessel, that's why we ask the question. In some ports, again, with outboard motors, then they're not allowed to carry more than 12 passengers. That's perhaps where the life ring or life buoy or ring buoys will come into play. So that opens another can of worms for me, my brother who sent me that information. But let's go back to the lines and thank this caller for holding. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Yes, Patches, let me get back in real quick, man. That lady caller there, I want to align myself with her tonight. The premier went in the federal house sometime back, and he uttered these words. He said he wants the economic citizens to come into the federation. Instead of them targeting new persons with that CBI passport, he wants those who have the passports already to come into the federation. And from there on, the premier hatched this plan. Trust me on that. And a lot of utterances came from that lady. She may be correct. Man, Patches, you do not know what these fellas got on their minds. But as the information come out, the Lord blessed us, each of us, with a brain. We just got to listen closely. And then the information we take in, we interpret it, we digest it, and we make our personal decisions. We cannot continue on this path because we're losing our lands and we're losing access to our beaches. It's affecting all of us. And this stuff is unbelievable. There is so much conflict of interest over there in Nevis concerning those lands. First of all, the government owned limited amount or no lands in that area. Why would the premier entertain a project like that? That means he and whoever else have to employ all manner of trickery and deceit to wring these landowners' hands to get those lands away from them. That area of Nevis is possibly the last area where the local and landowners own those lands. And I'm asking the landowners, the ones who claim so that they didn't know what they wanted these lands for, they can boycott that project. They can find a legal way. There must be some out clauses, especially since that they didn't pay the people for their lands fully yet. They only gave them a down payment. There must be some type of out clause where they can get out of those treacherous situations. Those deals are not good. They're bad deals for those landowners and for the Nevis people. Patches, your thesis tonight is right on point, man. And I'm going to tell the people straight up, the premier is only using his words. This is like the battle of the words now. His words that's coming out of his mouth is very conniving. You cannot let this man trick you. and deceive you and manipulate you. Watches this stuff, man. If this Destiny Project comes to Nevis, man, we just gonna have to suffer the consequences afterwards. But this stuff is not good for Nevis, and it's not good for Sinkis and Nevis on the whole. And to see these fellas, man, what they're doing to Nevis, this stuff is treasonous. It's a total betrayal of the Federation of Sinkis and Nevis. And if these persons in authority, especially the judicial system, the DPP and that AG, if these fellas had really went in there to clean up that mess, patches the judicial mess in the Federation, trust me, these persons would have been held accountable. But they can't do these things in another country. Only in Sinkis and Nevis, there is no accountability there. The checks and balances are not working. The systems are not working. That's why these fellas are doing these things to the Federation. And it's going to get worse. It's going to get worse. We're losing Sinkis and Nevis right in front of our eyes. And nobody wants to do anything about it. Nothing is being changed in Sinkis and Nevis. Nobody wants to do nothing about it. We're just talking all day, all night. Patches, we're going to be talking the same mess 20, 40 years from now. The people of Sinkis and Nevis got to take their country back from these corrupted, crooked politicians. It doesn't matter which party you're back in. We got to get off of the party line and have some solidarity for each other. These are national issues. They're not party issues. We're going to just sit there and lose Sinkis and Nevis. You know how difficult it is when we travel outside of the Federation and we migrate to St. Martin, the Virgin Islands, USA, UK, Canada. Man, some people struggle so much, bro. Patches, the movement from Sinkis and Nevis out here, it's not easy. We went to some hells, man. And to look back and see that in the Federation, what's going on there, in such a small, tiny place, they're encouraging us out there in the diaspora to come home. But how could they be encouraging us to come home and they're taking our lands and giving them away? The reparations committee, I'm calling them out. They haven't even approached the Prime Minister on this issue yet. They haven't made any statements. We never even got a reparations for slavery. And we are taking all our lands and giving them back to these slave masters. We're going to be recolonized. We're going to become slaves again in our own country. The people got to stand up. The ones on the ground especially. Don't be so naive and docile. Nobody wants to go in the street and protest against these guys and the evil they're doing to the Federation.
Okay.
Man, this stuff is disappointing.
Okay.
It's wrong what they're doing to the country.
Yes.
Somebody got to be held accountable. And if they don't be held accountable now, there will never be any accountability going forward.
Okay.
We're going to lose our lands, plain and simple. Okay. And sooner or later, bro, Patches, the beach that you went to swim as a little boy, you won't be able to go there as an adult. Sooner or later, you won't be able to go there. But thanks a lot, man. You guys have a good night.
Have a good night. Thanks for your contribution. We go back to the lines and thank this caller for holding. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Mr. Labot, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
It's good to be with you again.
Good to hear you as well.
Now, when I think of my premier, if dishonesty, falsehood, corruption, and sell-out had a face, it would have been the face of the Premier of Nevis. Now, I listened to him trying to convince the citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis and the world that he will not sign off and agree to anything that is detrimental to the people of Nevis because he is from Nevis and whatever. But then I heard you read part of an agreement that speaks to the amount of persons who will be required to work in the zone 5%. And the percentage that will be left for the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. Is that from the development agreement or is from something else?
It's from the agreement. So
then, if it is from the agreement,
yes, it is.
I have to conclude that the Premier did not read that agreement, before he sent it down to Dr. Drew, he would have said to us that his cabinet went over that development agreement and has concluded that the agreement is good for St. Kitts and Nevis. And if he's saying that what you're reading from the agreement is not true, it is clearly an indicator that he did not read the agreement, or he's just trying to pull wool over the eyes of the people of the Federation.
Well, he's one of these three things. Either he's dishonest, or he said false, or corrupt. That's what he said?
Yep.
He's one or all of them?
It's all.
Okay.
It is all of the above.
Yes.
You know, this thing started out wrong. And you know where he started? When he said at the 10th of July last year that he knew nothing about this agreement. Mm-hmm. And within less than a month, he had an agreement before him that he could have signed up to the Prime Minister. Mm-hmm. It is clear that something was in the works, some sort of discussion went on, whether it's on the yacht or in a hotel room somewhere or by phone. This premier has agreed with these people of Destiny to sell us out. Now, I want the people of Nevis to understand that Destiny is bad for Nevis, but Nevis is good for Destiny. Why you say that? You outlined that Destiny stand to make over $3 billion out of CBI receipts alone. That has nothing to do with all the other benefits from the crypto, from the geothermal, from whatever business that will be going on inside there, where they will have to pay no tax, zero taxation. And the premier is saying to us that Destiny will be about $1 billion project for Nevis. But at the outset, Destiny started with a win-win-win-win situation when just out of CBI alone, they've been walking away with over $3 billion.
Out of which they'll
what kind of... Go ahead.
I'm sorry, out of which they'll pay for the land they're trying to buy.
Okay. All right. And so Destiny will have our lands. They will have our passport to make money from. And then they have duty-free concession and everything. So Nevis will be good for them. That is why they are hell-bent in offering us all sorts of bribes to get us to buy into their Destiny, because they know what they're going to benefit from it. The question that we must ask, what is in there for the premier? What, if anything, he has gotten? And if he has gotten anything, how much or what promises were made to him for him to want to do this thing to the people of Nevis? And so I am appealing to all of us Nevisians to listen carefully. If Mark knew that there was nothing in that development agreement to hide and everything was in there to benefit the people of Nevis, he would have gladly shown it to us.
Publish it, yes, publish it.
The fact that he's not showing it to us, and he do not want us to know about it, and the track record that he has as a man who is a liar, a deceiver, and corruption circles around him, we should not and must not trust anything that this gentleman says, because he does not possess the capacity to tell the truth. And my grandmother told me, wherever you find a liar, you find a thief.
Yes.
And she went a little further and said, wherever you find a thief, you find a murderer.
Murderer, yes.
Okay? Yeah. And so we have to be careful when people lie to us blatantly. We must not take anything that they say, because they could lie to us, they can steal from us.
They can kill us.
And the worst part of this, we must understand, it is said that when you can hide from a criminal, and when you can hide from a thief, you cannot hide from a liar. Because this guy just make up lie and make up lies and make up lies and make up lies. and he cannot help himself. Please, let us rally together and save St. Kitts and Nevis, because if Nevis goes, St. Kitts will follow. Thank you.
Well said, my dear brother. Well said. And as I mentioned earlier, it was, although Brantley did not come forward and say it was a straight CBI project, he gave us some convoluted explanation. But Banky and his other Rastafari friend, his name slipped me now, had Olivier Johnson on their program. And he said this.
And how the CBI gonna work when it come to buying a condo or a home? If by buying that, if you're gonna have shares to sell. Do that come with shares? How that works?
You mean CBI or because I'm not?
Yes. So where the funding gonna come? Yes. How does that work? Usually CBI mean you get amount of shares and then you sell the passport. The money will help to develop the project and stuff like that. So how does that work for your project?
Well, technically, it is when you buy a unit, right? The moment you have you have paid down at least $325,000, if I'm correct, you have a right to a passport, right? So we're talking to the government to make sure that every unit that gets sold also has an obligation or to get a passport with that unit. So there's a guaranteed CBI income per unit that is sold, if that makes any sense. I'm not going to go into the technical details because I don't want to say anything that's incorrect. But the whole idea is that the CBI program will be involved and St. Kitts and Nevis both get CBI income from units being sold, yes. Obligated, yes.
Well, St. Kitts and Nevis will get the fees, which is a maximum of $60,000 if it's a family of four. $25,000 per application, plus a family of four, a wife and two siblings, two children. But you heard that from Olivier Johnson himself. Units or shares or investment units, as it can be called, at US $325,000. Imagine 10,000 shares or investment units at US $325,000 per unit. And my mathematics is my strongest weak point. But I tried my best. And I hope my best is good enough. Because that would equate or equal to US $3.25 billion. Or EC $8.78 billion if all the shares are sold at the legislated price, my straight talk family. And that obviously would help to recover if they spend the money ahead of time, and I don't think they would. But it will help to invest in the geothermal that they are expected to provide, 30 megawatts, or the solar farm, some 50 megawatts, and 6 general generators, fossil fuel generators. And my straight talk family. So who is fooling who is the question we ask. The infrastructure, the units, the roads, the security wall that will be put up. And my straight talk family, this is are the questions. These are the questions that have not been answered. And Mark Brantley must have known. I mean, we must commend Banky and Tafari. They drilled down the questions and got the answers from Oliver Johnson. And I want to play this one more time before we go. This is what Oliver Johnson said.
How the CBI gonna work when it comes to buying a condo or a home? If by buying that, if you're gonna have shares to sell. Do that come with shares? How that works?
You mean CBI or because I'm not?
Yes. So where the funding gonna come? Yes. How does that work? Usually CBI mean you get amount of shares and then you sell the passport. The money will help to develop the project and stuff like that. So how does that work for your project?
Well, technically, it is when you buy a unit, right? The moment you have you have paid down at least $325,000, if I'm correct, you have a right to a passport, right? So we're talking to the government to make sure that every unit that gets sold also has an obligation or to get a passport with that unit. So there's a guaranteed CBI income per unit that is sold, if that makes any sense. I'm not going to go into the technical details because I don't want to say anything that's incorrect. But the whole idea is that the CBI program will be involved and Nevis and Nevis both get CBI income from units being sold, yes. Obligated, yes.
They're obligated, as he said, to use his words, once you pay down $325,000 on a unit, you are entitled to a passport. But truth be told, as we wind down tonight's programming, my Straight Talk family, and thanks again to Banky and Tafari, because from the topics I think is their program, very good program. No matter what Terence Michael Drew says, my Straight Talk family, no matter what he says about land and constitution and the hullabaloo, the Destiny Project cannot go forward without the CIU's recommendation to allocate 10,000 shares or investment units and the cabinet's approval, my Straight Talk family. And they say that the prison project was criminal. But if the prison project was criminal with 5,500 shares, Terence Michael Jew, then tell me, what's the destiny? Somebody ought to go to jail. I'll take this and make this my final call for tonight. Caller, you're live. Hello?
Yes, it's me, Patrice.
Yes, my dear. Just got me in time.
Patrice, let me tell you something. You hear me? Over there in Nevis, it's going to have a lot of problems. Over there in Nevis. I listen to that snake over there. He make a lady pay, unnecessary money for nothing. Just because the lady says so many ballot and what that was in her box. And he make the lady, take the lady to king and make the lady pay $50,000. He and the judge. And he cannot sleep good when night time come because the lady ain't doing nothing. Just because the woman stand up for she right and watch that. He take you into the court and when done, make the woman pay $50,000 and then make the put up in radio come at about he wants his money like the woman trust something from him. So he ain't up there and gonna make good. Cause I follow him and he didn't know about destiny since when he in a team unity. Cause I listen to him at night. I listen to him talk and say he was in a house putting on his sack when his wife run come in and tell him that Sean down here as straying Timothy Harris and all them. He knows what goes on all the time. So Nevis gonna have to pay because he's a lawyer.
Okay.
When him study, you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
He's a lawyer
Okay.
and everything. So let us say that he gonna make it. He got a lot more to make. He's too loyal and dangerous.
And what
Have
Granny,
a good night, Patrick.
what Granny said about liars? Don't say.
I ain't gonna say it. I ain't gonna say it. I know what he said.
Okay. Granny said Granny said where you find the liar, you find the thief. Caller, thank you for holding. I'm gonna give you 10 seconds. Can you use it?
Thank you, Patrick.
Yeah.
I patiently waited.
I'm sorry about that, so.
All the perspective from each and every one tonight and going back then, they were very well sound, effective, and truthful. I have no doubt. If I may go back in one of the callers utterance that he was on that apple cider. Sir, with due respect, you always speak wisdom that I admire, and I am hoping to meet you when I come to St. Kitts in participation of the next upcoming election. Whether you vote for me or you vote for me not, if you could, I humbly would like to meet you. Last but not least, yes, everyone is saying Harris again. Harris again. If it should be Harris, it should be Harris. If it should not be Harris, it should not be Harris. But I need people to get off the party line and give other candidates a chance and stop cancel them out before they even make a stand. Give someone else a chance to be in, not those traditional incumbents. They were there before and they failed in some way. Why not give a new breed a chance? There are some is so hypocritic. Hypocrisy. Okay? Give others a chance. That is what I don't like. We could be disagree, but we don't have to be disagreeable.
Yeah, but caller, let me ask you a question here, right?
Yes,
I have a constituent of mine who always said that seeing is believing. And you understand that, right? And,
carry on.
And you would have looked at the performance of Harris as it comes to the fiscal performance that you've heard mentioned tonight by the economists, and you saw how he dealt with the economy. So, would you take a chance with somebody? That's exactly what you did with Drew. You took a chance, and Drew had no reference point. What he did, there's nothing you can point to except try to sneak in some these rapid test kits during COVID. Wanted to make money. Drew did nothing. So why should we expect that Drew would do anything? Because he never did anything. He did nothing before he got into government. So when I hear you say give me a chance or give people a chance, I'm getting a little weary about that. What do you think?
Okay. Me personally,
I was general. I didn't refer to you because I don't know what you did. You'll have to tell the country. You'll have to tell the country what you did.
I'm a great man of understanding.
Well, you understand, okay?
Yes, it is true. Looking back at the past Prime Minister, Premier in combination, yes, Harris was the best amongst them. I will hold that. They can't match. But the point I'm trying to make, Harris was, and Harris is not the only one who is there. I'm going to say the best is yet to come. Harris is not the best. We can never get the best. The best is always yet to come.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
No one is canceling Harris from getting back in.
Well, I just made a reference. and that's a good reference point. But wrap up for me. I want to take one more call here.
All I need the people of St. Kitts
Uh-huh.
who will be voting
Okay.
to be mindful of. Give a chance to others who make their vow to be a candidate. Because all the past premiers and presidents, prime ministers we had, okay, you never know until they are there to make your judgment. So get off of the party line, get off of the narrow-minded ways and broaden your circle. It's not just in St. Kitts and Nevis.
Okay.
We are out here too. We are citizens, and we sure damn do deserve a fearful choice.
Okay. Thank you very much. But like my friend would say, seeing is believing, and I very well believe that. My Straight Dog family, give a chance. We may get. Anyway, I won't say anymore. I take your point, Mr. Straight Dog. Today, I received yet another email from Inland Revenue Department, which states this is the final warning for house and land tax. I'm listening to you and I'm quite outraged. The Destiny Project will be tax-free for many years to come, yet the government continues to levy heavy taxes on local home owners. The poor can take no more. When will the people truly be considered? And my Straight Talk family, my time is done and I've got to run. I saw a caller. I tried to make room for him or her. I can give them 10 seconds, but if you feel like. But the Destiny betrayal, as I wrap, and the conflict of interest comes to the fore each time. And look no further than the south coast of Nevis and the outrageous Destiny Project. Brantley wants to hand over our land, my Straight Dog family, to a crypto millionaire to build a semi-autonomous enclave. Let's take this call and give this caller 20 seconds. Can you use it, call?
Yes, I can. Mm-hmm. There's a verse of scripture in the Bible said, together we stand, divided we fall. Mm-hmm. More people that run in the election divide the numbers, and there are people going to vote for Labour no matter what. So when they're going to dissolve the vote because they want to, they're not helping. They're not helping. And as I said, Mr. Harris did a wonderful job. Good night. God bless.
I'm going to take, thank you very much for your, can you use 10 seconds, caller? That's all I can afford.
Yeah, Patrick. Yeah, Patrick, yeah. We are we are the elected. We are the government. We who work for the government is the government. This man is the elected representative.
Yes.
Patrick, do you think that we cannot shut our government before election, Joe? We can raise up and shut down our government. The people can raise up and shut down our government in doing ills to the country and doing wrong things, Patrick. Patrick, listen up there. You have a wonderful night again.
Thank you very much. Well, you can agitate in many different ways. Hopefully, if you agitate, we will do so within the parameters of the law. You know, yes, you can do so many things, to use your term, to shut down the government. Not like Douglas did with the bottle and stones, though. I won't support that. But the betrayal I was alluding to before I took those final calls. Brantley wants to hand over our land to a foreign crypto millionaire to build a semi-autonomous enclave. But who is facilitating these transactions behind the scenes? His own wife, Sharon Mama Brantley, acting as a real estate agent, whom he referred to, my straight dog family, as the go-between. Sharon Mama Brantley, he referred to as the go-between.
Developer is a company, as I believe it's called South Nevis Limited, and that company is working with my wife. So she's acting as a go-between between her client, who's the developer, and landowners, and asking if they're minded to sell their land.
And yes, my straight dog family, Sharon Mama Brantley was the go-between, according to Mark. But as I started tonight's episode, I will end. I reminded you that almost every leader in St. Kitts and Nevis loves to weaponize their history. They stand on political platforms beating their chests, my straight dog family, reminding the voters of the dirt floors they walked on, reminding the listeners of the small wooden chattel houses in which they lived, my straight dog family, that raised them, and the hard-working parents who sacrificed everything so they could wear imperial suits. For years as a politician, Brantley has played this melody perfectly well. Quite frequently, he cloaks himself in the legacy of his late father, Irving Brantley, and late mother, Cynthia Vicki Williams. May they both rest in eternal peace. Brantley used the grit of Gingerland as a political shield, shouting down his opposition by proclaiming exactly whose son he is.
My Nevisian, my navel string, my mother even didn't have money to carry me to born me in hospital. She born me right there in Scarborough. Right on them 4 stones in that little chattel house that we had. My navel string buried in Nevis. The people of Nevis have reposed their trust and confidence in me to lead them at this time. And I'm going to go and sign an agreement that limits the number of jobs that Nevisians can get. Me? Irving and Vicki's son?
And yes, he did. And according to the quotationists from across the Narrows, who presented this quotation tonight, and I quote, "He who uses the office he owes to the voters wrongfully and against them is a thief." That's what the quotation says. But history, my people, is a double-edged sword. And when a leader continuously invokes the sacred names of his ancestors to gain power, he invites the public to judge his actions by the standards of those very ancestors. But my straight dog family, Irving and Vicki belong to a proud generation of Nevisians who understood the true meaning of community, humility, and sacrificial labor. They did not work for titles. They worked for survival and the upliftment of their children. And my straight dog family, Irving was into a lifelong, tight-knit friendship with the late Sir Simeon Daniel, the legal giant and founding father of modern Nevis. And Sir Simeon took him into his chambers out of pure respect for his father, Irving Brantley. And those very offices which today bear the name Daniel Brantley, Seaman gave that young lawyer a stern warning that echoes like a haunting curse today. Your father, Irving, is one of my closest friends, Simeon Daniel declared. Do you know why he and I get along so well? And Simeon responded to his own rhetorical question and said, because neither of us forget what the soil of Gingerland tastes like. Irving did not send you to England just to learn how to make wealthy foreigners wealthy, man. The future of Nevis is its people. Look out that window. The law is just a corporate ladder for you to climb. Is not a corporate ladder for you to climb. In these chambers, the law is a shield. When I fought for Section 113 in the Constitution, Simeon Daniel continued, when we built the Bank of Nevis, it wasn't for prestige. It was so that the small businessman in Gingerland, in Charlestown, or the farmer in Gingerland, and the fisherman in Indian Castle would never have to beg a foreign master for their daily bread. What's happening to the farmer in Gingerland? Gingerland is at the center of this Destiny project. The fragmentation of Gingerland. If you look at the layout details, my Straight Talk family, which I'll post before I leave. And these layout details, my Straight Talk family, from Saddle Hill to Long Point, they indicate that the developers acquired nearly 190 acres of land directly in the heart of Gingerland, stretching well above the island's main road. That routing is a highly monitored, secure perimeter through an existing community, effectively slicing Gingerland in two parts. And my Straight Talk family, Oliver Johnson of Destiny is carving out a legal black box with the local police, customs officers, and court bailiffs having limited or modified powers that undermines the rule of law and creates a two-tiered system of justice, one for foreign crypto investors and another for native citizens. And the cannibalization, beg your pardon, of the CBI program, which aims to funnel 10,000 property buyers through the Citizenship by Investment program. My Straight Talk family, nothing can happen unless Jew decides to approve and sign those 10,000 certificates of registration, beg your pardon, so that we can get the passports. The technical consensus from the IMF and the ECCB is that the Destiny Project's financial model is extractive rather than constructive. And an extractive economic model is designed to remove wealth, resources, and value from a specific area or population to benefit a small elite group of outsiders. And that's what Destiny is all about, my Straight Talk family. Their inbound arrangements. They can bring their drugs, their guns, whatever contraband, and not one customs officer dare break that bond, that seal. That's what Mark Brantley is given away to Oliver Johnson's. But if betrayal has a lasting legacy, it is the erosion of trust, my people. Those who build their lives defending the interests and dignity of Nevis will scarcely recognize the politics of today. If the principles championed by Irving and Vicki have been abandoned for political convenience, then their memories stand as a silent indictment. History, my people, will ultimately decide whether Mark's choices advanced Nevis or betrayed the very cause they devoted their lives to. The people of Nevis will ultimately judge not by promises or political speeches, but by actions and their consequences. When loyalty to principle gives way to political expediency, the cost is borne by an entire nation. And if the values that Irving Brantley and Vicki Williams lived and fought for have been cast aside, then history will record this chapter for what many believe it to be: Mark's betrayal of the Nevisian people made Irving and Vicki turn in their graves. And that's my story tonight, my Straight Talk family, and I am not going to change it. I want to thank Almighty God for guiding our conversation tonight, as always. I want to thank you, the many listeners, those are many viewers as well, those who called and those who sent emails. Remember, you are the ones who make Straight Talk, and for that reason, I say a big, big thank you. I went over time tonight because of the importance of the podcast. But until we connect on Thursday for another edition of Straight Talk, be good to yourselves and to all whom you meet. And remember, whatever your mind conceive, that you will achieve. Call, I did not take your call because I know others will come in. But I'll be here on Thursday, Godspeed. In the meanwhile, whatever your mind conceive, that you will achieve. But first of all, you must believe. So when you wake in the morning, thank God for the morning light. Thank Him for taking you to the night. And my Straight Talk family, keep moving on. Bye-bye. Until we connect on Thursday.
The morning, I thank God for the morning light. Give Him thanks and praises for taking me safely through the night. For the rest of food and loving care, and for my mother's breath of life that's got me here. So whatever my mind conceives, that I will achieve, you better believe, because I do the things I should, be to my brethren kind and good, the best I could. So I'll keep moving on, I won't stop now, I'll keep moving on, till I reach the top somehow, down on my knees,